One thing I'd also like to say before this video starts is that if you could like it, please. These do take forever to edit, and I do not want to post it for nothing. That would show a lot of respect. Thank you. Basketball is a sport that is around the world. Everybody has different skill sets, but what's interesting is the best of the best from all around the world go to something called the NBA. Now, in the NBA, there's obviously 30 teams, but specifically, I want to talk about the San Antonio Spurs. They were founded in 1967 in Texas. They were not a great team in legacy-wise, but 20 years later after they were founded, they drafted somebody named David Robinson. Now, I'd love to talk about him, but he doesn't really help the legacy until somebody named Tim Duncan gets drafted. So around 10 years later after David Robinson was drafted, they drafted Tim Duncan with the first pick as well. I mean, he had a great legacy. He won 5 rings in 1999, 2003, 2005, 2007, and 2014. Now, after 2014, they were pretty good. They actually were the 6th seed, but in the first round, they lost to the Clippers with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin in Game 7. And then in 2015, 2016, Tim Duncan did retire, but they were the 2nd seed, and they ended up losing to the KD-Russ duo in Game 7. And before I move on to the future after that, you got to thank Greg Popovich for that, because he actually was with every championship there. Now, I'm going to skip through this part really quickly. So, in 2016, they did end up drafting DeJounte Murray around on pick 29. Now, he was with DeMar DeRozan and LaMarcus Aldridge around 3 years on that team. But DeMar DeRozan did leave that team in free agency on the Bulls, and LaMarcus Aldridge also left to go to the Nets. But in 2019, they did draft somebody named Keldon Johnson around on pick 29 as well. Also an add-on in 2020 was Devin Vassell, who's going to be a role player coming up soon. And then around 2021-2022 season, you'll start to see that DeJounte Murray becomes an all-star after both of those players leave. Now, Keldon Johnson was definitely the 2nd best player, but you could see that DeJounte Murray was just unbelievably good. But he ended up getting traded in the offseason to the Hawks. The Spurs just really received picks, and now we're starting off today in this season with Keldon Johnson leading the team, and in real life, he is doing really good, averaging 23 points per game currently, and that will lead it to now. So here is the 2022-2023 Spurs starting lineup. First, we got Tre Jones. Now, you might think there's not much to talk about him because he's probably the worst starting point guard in the league, but he's honestly the best perimeter defender on our team, and he can actually play make really well. He's a hustler on defense. He tries to get the ball no matter what, and he can actually play like a big man almost. It's kind of weird because when you look at Tre Jones, it looks like he wouldn't play like a big. He's the smallest dude on the team, but he's actually really good. The only thing I say he'd lack on is he can't create a shot. He can't just get open. It's really hard to make a shot with him too. And from playing with them, you can't really get past the defender. Because mainly everybody else I use, I could get past. But when I use Tre Jones, you can't really get past him. And we could possibly trade somebody else for him. But for now, I will say I really like Tre Jones, and he's a valuable player. Next up, who we have on this list is Devin Vassell. So this is 2K, and I'm not gonna lie, some people are more difficult to play with, especially with their animations, and Devin Vassell is definitely one of those guys. Behind a couple players, I will say this, Devin Vassell is definitely our best shooter, and also he's definitely our 2nd best player overall. And right behind Tre Jones, he's definitely one of the best perimeter defenders we have. He's really great on the mid-range too. And what's excellent about him is he's really, really young. He's only 21 years old, and he's a shooting guard. And what's also advantage is that he's 6'5", so that will really help. The only thing I really say he has a lack on is his athleticism. He's not the worst, but he's not, like, fast. He can't really accelerate down the court. He'll kind of just let people score on the fast break. Other than that, there's nothing really bad about him. Next, let's move on to Jeremy Sochan. So, I'm not going to lie, I don't really have much to say about him. He can shoot, and sometimes he can get the rebound, but for the pick he is not really that good on the defense. Like, he's a very mild player. he can somewhat play offensive, and I'm not really glad to say he's in my starting lineup, and we'll definitely have trade talks on him. I don't really have much to say about him. Really rarely he'll create a highlight play. Next player we got is Jakob Poeltl. Now I'm going to say this right now, playing with him wise, he's definitely our second best player. He is a great rebounder, and practicing with him the whole time, he got out-rebounded once, offensive and defensive. Every time there was a missed shot, he just get it. He's also a great pick-and-roll player. He's excellent on the pick-and-roll, and he can get you a block shot almost every possession. And we're going to really need him because in the future, we're going to be versing really good big men, and he will be able to stop them. So that is what's really useful about him. Obviously, he can't shoot, but I think we'll be fine on that. But that's really it for Jakob Poeltl, and now we're moving on to the next player. You already know we got to save the best for last. Keldon Johnson, our starting small forward. Easily the best player on our team. First of all, he can shoot the 3-ball, contested, off the screen, pull up, everything. Not that bad of a dunker. He can dunk on people sometimes. He'll definitely show a highlight reel. He's actually not that bad at defense too. You'll see him get a block once in a while, maybe every couple of games. He'll even get a steal, and he'll definitely perform a good 20-point game every game, if not close. As much as I'd like to talk about him, I feel like we already get where he's at right now. He is at the All-Star performance, and I wouldn't be shocked if he makes an All-Star team in the next couple of years for us. And again, the only thing he really lacks is the athleticism, just like Devin Vassell. But he's a little bit better than Devin Vassell, the athleticism. So we just overviewed the 2022-2023 Spurs starting lineup. I would like to talk about the bench, but I'm not going to lie. I think that's going to change a lot throughout this year. And maybe even the starting lineup too. If the starting lineup will probably change a lot too. Today, I'm really just overviewing the team, and this is basically introducing the team. But I am going to show you the minutes before this video ends and explain a little bit more of other stuff. So here's the starters. Tre Jones is going to be getting 26 minutes as starting point guard. Devin Vassell is getting 30 minutes. Keldon Johnson is getting 34 minutes. Jeremy Sohan is getting 24 minutes. Jakob Poeltl is getting 31, and then 6th man is going to be Josh Richardson with 27, Isaiah Roby with 22, Doug McDermott with 19, Zach Collins with 15, and I think, Myleague Branham is getting 12. So that'll be the minutes. So that is the end of the video here. That whenever the next video drops, we will be versing the Charlotte Hornets and LaMelo Ball. Trust me, as boring as this video sounds, I try to make it as fun as possible by putting detail into this video. But once we get more into this games, trust me, it'll be more hype and way more things going on. Just trust me. This series will be amazing. I'm going to aim for 80 views. As little as that sounds, I am not a big YouTuber, but I'm hoping I could grow because that's been my whole dream. But that'll be it. I'm aiming for 80 views this video and a like. That's pretty much it. Have a good night, guys.